Hello Twin Flames, this is Victoria and I'm here with your daily energy check. Today I'm doing a special edition reading, one other special edition reading about the full moon in Pisces. That the peak of this full moon in Pisces is happening around 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday, September 10th. It of course could be a very different time for you or even day, depending on where you are in the world. So make sure to check your local timings. But it is coming, it's upon us. And as much as I've already spoken above and beyond on what full moons mean, what you can do with the full moons, right? I wanted us to have a check on what does it mean specifically right now with the full moon in Pisces and specifically for twin flame journey at this time. Because all of these events actually, and because it's one of the super moons, if somebody's following me on Instagram, I did post it the previous night what the moon was like. It was even a little spooky, you know, when it's like deep into the night and this huge moon illuminates everything. So yeah, I wanted to kind of say a couple of words about it before I dive into the reading. So we definitely will do energy check. I'll pull oracle cards as always, and then the questions I'm going to be asking with tarot today is what comes to the surface for each of the twins. We'll do separately during this full moon, because usually that's what happens in full moon events, right? It illuminates things that were hidden intentionally or unintentionally, right? Things that were suppressed that we didn't want to admit. It's a lot of that subtle energy. And Pisces is a lot about this sort of, first of all, it's a water sign. It's also connection with dreamland, with other realms. So it's diving or tuning into those higher realms of reality, or going galactic and traveling across the galaxies, right? It's connection with ancestors. It's all of these things. And actually, the deck I decided to use today is a Dreaming Way Tarot, and the story of the deck is that the author actually saw those cards in his dream, or dreams, I bet, more than one dream. And that's how he then pictured it in the deck, right? So it's very much connected with the dreamland and this time when our subconscious really comes to the surface. It's one of the ways, right? There are a lot of different techniques of how we can bring it to the conscious sense, or at least get more clarity on what's going on, right? A lot of our suppressed experiences have been brought up from this life and even from the previous lifetimes. So yeah, pay attention to your dreams 200% during this time. And also, as much as this is full moon in Pisces and all those connections are important, also breaking some limitations or misconceptions about other realms, about the etheric realm, about star seeds, right? If you're a twin flame watching, maybe you have certain kind of blockages or disbeliefs or fears around this topic. So dive deeper into that. If you don't know where to start, you can ask your higher power, you can ask the divine, you can pray on it, you can set that intention before you go to bed to get more clarity on this topic, or to know which step to take next, or what is the truth in this case, right? Whatever that your question is in that specific context, it's very good right now to try to get more clarity on it and to release anything unhealthy, because that's what full moons are for, really. And that's what any ritual that you would be doing, it would be connected with it one way or another. So it's also your opportunity to kind of let go of any unhealthy habits, patterns, thoughts, even people, actually, why not, right? So yeah, I'm gonna dive deeper into this. If you're interested to know more on the rituals or full moon, new moon events, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can prepare as a separate video, or maybe even webinar, we'll see. So first of all, and then we'll get the energy of the connection at this time. What is happening in twin flame dynamic, right, between the twins? What is, like, how is this full moon impacting the twins? We'll get answers to that. And then hopefully we'll have time and I'll pull some cards from the Hermit Tarot deck. Okay, let's do this. Take a deep breath, everyone. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. If you enjoy what I'm doing, you can, of course, support me through donations. There are links down below. There's also my Amazon wish list. So maybe you'll like to support me that way. All of my wishes are directly connected with the development of this channel and what I'm doing here. So will definitely benefit the collective, including you, in the long run. So we have 2 cards for the feminine: Great Adventure, Take a Risk, Venture Forward, and Impasse, Reflect and Redirect Your Energy. Very opposite energies, it would seem, right? But what I'm hearing is that it's with everything, it's all about balance. And what I'm also getting at divine feminines during this full moon, they're actually seeing, remember the serenity prayer that I mentioned a few days ago? They're being able to discern where they need to launch full forward and with open sails and just keep going, courageously, and where it's like a natural nudge to take a break, to hold on, or kind of like make a stop and rethink, recollect, reconnect, recharge, right? Redirect your energy. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that it's either or, by the way, right? Because in any of the goals that you set, you need to be able to do both. And it's never going to be just this or just this. It's always going to be both of this, unless we're talking about something that takes a few minutes and is very straightforward, manual, automatic almost, right? Then no. But for anything important, it is like that. With relationships, with whatever you have set for your mission and abundance, for your hobbies, for taking care of your health, you name it. Whatever goals you have, you'll need to have both of the sides in balance so that you don't get stuck too much, you don't procrastinate. On this other hand, that you're not rushed into things without much consideration and get discouraged. Or, you fail at your goal, even if it was a good one, right? So yeah, beautiful. I love this. And let's get a card for the masculines now. What do we need to know about the masculine journey at this time? What's the theme for masculines for this full moon in Pisces? And remember, even though it's full moon in Pisces, we are in a Virgo season. And Virgo is still going to be reminding you to be practical, to ground your knowledge, whatever you're going to figure out in that other realm, in your dreamland, in your meditation, in your, hypnosis session. It could be past life regression, whatever is it, however you do it, some transcendental state. It's important to keep it grounded. So as soon as you get that insight, write it down. That's a beautiful way to ground it. Journaling always works. But also think about, it's also a great way not to forget, right? Especially if you saw a dream about it, we forget our dreams. And it's important to write it down as soon as you get it. Important, okay, write it down. And then think, and that may take you like a few hours, a few days to kind of sink into that knowledge and see how you can apply that into your life. So you don't just learn it and put it on the bookshelf and forget about it. It's yeah, okay, it's good to know. No, what does it mean? It was given to you, it had a meaning behind it. Think how you're going to be using it in your life differently, right? Even if it's as simple as, it doesn't have to be a generic insight. It could be, a childhood memory that comes up. Then do a little bit of investigation, a little bit of that detective work to see what was important about that experience. How do you see it now? Many, years later, right? With adult eyes, if it was a childhood memory. Who else was involved? How did it change your life? These kind of questions around it. And then you'll be able to see why you saw it. And also, if certain things are not healed, cycles are not closed, it means it's time to close them now. Or it's important for you to learn that lesson so that that knowledge can help you move forward with whatever it is you're doing. All right, for the twin flame, for the divine masculines, we have watching clouds. Of course, they have it easy, right? Lay back, rest, and relax. I love this card so much. It's beautiful. I even like the idea with the hammock and just everything. Rest and relax. That's the advice for masculines. And you know what? It may seem pretty amazing and simple. For the masculines, though, it's not a natural masculine energy. Masculines are usually not that great at knowing how to lay down and relax. And I don't mean that they don't know how to have fun, to have party, to have that, vibe where they're like relaxing. But there is different types of relaxation. There is something active that you do. Going to a party is like an active way to have some fun. I'm like here, it's specifically talking about lie down, rest, and relax, right? It's about this kind of passive, restful time. And that's not easy just generally for people, and for masculines especially, because this is actually the feminine energy, the feminine side. So they're basically, because the moon is actually also the feminine energy, it's about the intuition, the feelings and emotions, that vibe. So it's pushing divine masculines to go into that, into their pool of feminine energy, dive into that, connect to their intuitive self. Okay, let's see in more details now. What is the full moon in Pisces bringing to the surface for divine feminines during this time? Seven of Swords. Okay, I'll put some clarifiers. What about divine masculines? What is it bringing to the surface for divine masculines? The Empress. Nice. And what is happening in the twin flame connection? What is happening between the twins in the twin flame dynamic at this time? Ten of Cups. Love it. Love it. I think we had it this week, right? At the beginning of the week. And I had this like feeling of elation, and oh, look at that. 6 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Victory. I like it so much. Okay, so this kind of card, remember I also told you that you get into that full moon space before the peak time. So if you have a calendar, if you're like paying attention to the lunation events, and you're like, okay, Saturday is the full moon. If it's really important to you, if you want to work with that energy, start working like a week before. That's your kind of building up the energy time, and it's already impacting us, right? And so we see this week, this 10 of Cups, and I love it. So yeah, please clarify 7 of Swords. Please clarify the Empress for the masculines. And by the way, if you're interested in a personal readings or coaching sessions, do not hesitate to reach out via an email address in the description box below. Please clarify 10 of Cups. Thank you. Okay. So for the feminines, we have 7 of Swords clarified by 8 of Wands. I'm getting the energy of escapism is coming up, where you're avoiding something. It's even that, the person is running away, first of all. They're not even looking into this direction. And that's a very interesting concept of 7 of Swords energy. It's not what we usually see in the card. But what we also, what is similar to the Rider-Waite deck is the person is holding 5 swords out of 7, and 2 are on the ground. So 5 to me, I'm pointed to the 5 in this one, and I'm getting that there is some sort of illusion that you're holding on to. And at this time you will be, and 8 of Wands is like the classic, card of download, of communication from between realms, from your higher power, from your own higher self, from your guides. Something about this, so it's also like winter time. If you can see it here, it's clearly winter. So to me, like in winter, again, because when everything is covered with snow, you get to spot certain aspects of reality differently, like more vividly, because they really come to focus, right? You can really see them in contrast with the white snow. So there is a big, you'll see this in contrast. It's kind of like, for example, you're avoiding or you're procrastinating with, I don't know, starting a new hobby that you wanted to try, but you're like, yeah, maybe I'm not very good at it. Maybe you even went to a class or two, but then you stopped. And then you see an example of a friend of yours that went to those couple of classes with you. They don't have any experience in what is it you to try to do the same as you, kind of idea, right? But then you see how they took it forward, how they found the inspiration, and how much it's helping them in life, changing it in positive ways. And then you're like, well, I mean, come on. Like, you see that contrast, right? Where you were avoiding it, and you probably found some reasons why you didn't want to do it that way, or it wasn't the time, or I wasn't ready, or something. And then you can see someone who took it forward, right? That's the contrast. It's kind of like, what would happen if, right? If I went that way. And of course, your story would have been different, but you can still see how it could have played out, because somebody similar to you, like with the same sort of setup, with the same prerequisites, went for it and they're much happier, right? So you would see where your avoidance is, and then you'll be like, but hang on, but they had the same reasons as me not to do it, and they still did it. So then you will see, like, specifically what is it that was your avoiding mechanism. And I'm saying it with love because we all do have those. Remember, I speak a lot about coping mechanisms and the programming that we have, that our psyche has to protect us. Right? So we all have it one way or another. It's just an example. So you would be able to see that it wasn't actually a good reason not to do it, whatever your reason was. Right? You were avoiding it because, and then you'll be able to see, to get that download about what was the actual reason. Maybe you'll see a dream where you actually went for it and then you were somehow publicly embarrassed. Like something didn't work out and your worst case scenario played out, right? We often see those kind of things in the dream. And then we're like, oh, that's why I was afraid to do it, or like I was in denial or whatever, right? So this kind of idea. For the masculines, we have, and remember I even mentioned procrastination here with an impasse. It's important to have a balance of both. For the masculines, we have the Emperor. The Emperor is clarified by 6 of Cups. Didn't even realize it was 6 of Cups. Wow, this is giving me a vibe of the motherly energy. It's like some sort of memories. Again, this definitely looks like childhood memories to me, but they're connected with mother. And maybe the way, for some of you, would be the way mother was interacting with you versus other members of the family, like your siblings or like your dad, maybe their siblings, their parents, right? Like what was going on in the family. It's like those kind of memories are coming into divine masculine's attention at this time. They're remembering something important. And with the Empress energy I'm getting, it's also something that gave birth to a lot of other choices that they've made in life. So again, they're starting to see those while they're watching clouds and relaxing. It seems like they're like, happy memories. Then they get gradually to watercolor memories. And, they realize that maybe it wasn't as happy, or it was happy, but it actually limited their vision in a certain way, right? Like that became their definition of how to do it, rather than being open-minded and trying different ways. It's interesting. And finally, for the dynamic of like twin flame dynamic, we have 10 of Cups clarified by 7 of Cups, Devil Cups. Excuse me. Yes, that was a moment of truth. Whew. yeah, so there is a lot going on in the in twin flames. Like a lot of things come to attention for twin flames this week. A lot of important topics, I would say. So it's not like it's noise. A lot of important topics. Like one of them could be like financial abundance or issues, or whatever you're doing with your finances. The second one could be I don't know, your health and maybe nutrition and what you're cooking, like how that, like the connection maybe between your food and how you want to feel. Like the third one could be, I don't know, your travel plans. The fourth one could be your last conversation with your twin flame and like you're thinking about it. Like the fifth one, something's going on with work. It's like all over the place. I don't know, something didn't work to like according to plan, and now you need to remedy the situation, right? Like a lot of things where your attention is needed and you can't really put it off, right? So in the corporate world, we'll put it in the quadrant of important and urgent tasks. So those are the tasks that you would choose to do immediately, as opposed to like the rest of the types. So that would be important but not urgent, not important but urgent, and not important not urgent, right? This quadrant goes first, and you have like 6 different things, or 7, right? In this case, that you need to deal with, that both of the twins need to deal with. But they understand that there is this feeling of easiness about it, and that's new energy, and that's because of this 10 of cups, really. So 10 of cups is like on the background. It's like my backdrop here. It's like it's setting the scene, and because that love is there and it's 10 of cups, it's like the maximum emotional fulfillment. It's like this feel good vibe on your heart space that's kind of making all of this easier, make it seem like not such a big deal, make it seem like something you can deal with, and deal with compassion and love. And remember, the Mercury retrograde just started, which means it's even more important to do that. So this is so helpful for the twins to not go ballistic over certain things, to not jump the gun, to not rush into anything, and including with each other, right? Whatever it is, you could be getting super positive experiences. Maybe something will come up this time that will be, again, in a contrast to that. So maybe some of your older patterns will show up, and you'll know that you still need to have some healing to do. Maybe jealousy because of the karmic situation. Maybe heartache because of your twin offending you in some way, like saying something that was hurtful to you, or not paying attention to you, right? Or maybe like your disappointment with where they are on their path right now, their spiritual path, their personal like spiritual consciousness and awareness, right? And what kind of choices they're making in life. It could be any kind of those things, but this will be easier to handle because you have the 10 of cups right behind you, right? Like you feel like, okay, you can take it more objectively. That's what I'm getting. And really look at it from like a scientific point of view, right? Like with goggles and with a magnifying glass, like a scientific observation. So you can make some conclusions, and make the most out of those experiences and do the healing, right? Because again, this is releasing, healing, forgiving. This is really the topic of the full moon. It's a perfect time for it. And it looks like there's some mutual support between the twins in this, because that's what is happening energetically. You are exchanging this 10 of cups vibes with each other. Okay, I will do the messages very quickly without a lot of interpretation, but you guys take it how it resonates for you. Let's get some messages from DMs to DFs. We have, you hurt me, but that's okay, I guess. Just speaking about it. I still don't have all the answers. Yep, clearly. But that's why they need the watch in the clouds time and space so that they get the answers. From the feminines, we have time to ground yourself. Definitely. Yes, that's Virgo energy for you. And I guess divine feminines are giving a nudge or a wink to the masculines, that even though they can be flying in the clouds these days and taking that time to relax, maybe daydream it's important to ground it. And that's golden advice. Ground yourself. And do that again. Do another check of grounding before you go out and communicate with others. I would just add to that. Okay, thank you very much for joining me today, guys. Thank you so much for letting me serve you, and I hope this has been useful. And until next time, I love you all.